Greetings, mortals, and welcome back to the channel. I'm the Archivist, and today I thought it'd be fun to address some more Infinity Blade lore in general, since other videos will be going a little more in depth. Specifically, recently I've been giving a lot of thought to issues in Infinity Blade lore, and things that contradict one another, making explaining things in the story all the more difficult. As I go back and reread or watch sources of lore knowledge, the amount of info we know about a subject understandably evolves. What doesn't quite make sense is when we learn new information that seemingly contradicts old information, creating what I like to call an accidental retcon. Quite a few examples come from the September 2014 AMA with Donald Mustard. For a specific one,
what is this place? It was once the home of the most vile evil ever to befall this world. He's been gone for ages, slain by Redriar on the plains of Koroth. Many devoted believe him truly dead, yet here I study, ponder, and question. The seals must never be broken, for he cannot be allowed to return.
When asked about the Archivist's sudden change in topic when speaking about Ausar the Vile, Donald Mustard explained that a being like the Archivist was about to kill an interloper, and didn't need to explain the nuances of his thoughts. In his answer, however, Donald Mustard referred to the Archivist as a deathless, directly contradicting information we've previously seen on this channel, and from episode 4 of the Epic Games Community Podcast. So, is the Archivist now deathless, or what? Whether intended to actually retcon something or not, I most often chalk these events up to human error, and give the speaker the benefit of the doubt. In this case, having to answer so many questions about the lore for this AMA, it's understandable in my mind that Donald Mustard might have forgotten that podcast or made a simple mistake. At least 2 other accidental retcons occur in the September 2014 AMA, and I'll address these further in the video on that AMA. As I've tried to write up a complete timeline for the Infinity Blade story, one of the things I've had to come to terms with the quickest is that no concrete dates can be given for really any events, as many gaps in time have no confirmed canon duration, and/or exist relative to other events only. As an example of the former case, we have no idea exactly how long the entire tradition of the sacrifice went on for. Redriar speaks of a huge amount of time when he says,
I have killed you hundreds of times, but now, finally, you will truly taste death outside.
But implies something much shorter when he talks to the worker.
If you are all-powerful, then why did you let yourself get trapped in a prison for 1,000 years?
Then, as an example of the latter, we know that at some point after being reborn in Infinity Blade Awakening, Redriar went to visit the Worker of Secrets. Presumably, this was also before he faced Cyrus at Sadie's estate, but it's hard to say which event it was closer to. Even something like the events of the Deviation chapters, which obviously take place in the near future, relative to the real world, could be anywhere from 50 to 100 years out, also influencing exactly how far in the future the actual saga takes place. In the same vein as not knowing how long the tradition of the sacrifice took place for, there are also other canon details we're lacking. For example, how many sacrifices were there before and after Archerin? Are the events of the Sky Cages update canon? After all, in-game, the Infinity Blade is required to unlock the Cage of the Iron Hunter. Is Rith facing Issa in Infinity Blade 3 canon? Are the events we see when acquiring the Vial set canon? In canon, did Cyrus see the tomb and see those memories Tel didn't want him to? Even some of the canon details we do have to be inferred from other sources and aren't outright stated. For example, out of the 2 options given for entering the Temple of Lantamore in Infinity Blade 1, Cyrus canonically took the right path through the courtyard. While certain parts of the Infinity Blade story seem to have been well planned in advance, others have contradictions which evince a story and its finer details in development. Geography, for example, is one such area. For example, when speaking with Sadie about the worker's whereabouts, Cyrus is told,
The Vault of Tears, the place once known as Saranthia, due west, past the sea in the mountains to the north. You could find him there.
Infinity Blade Awakening is more specific, telling him to take a ship west until he strikes land, and to then climb the mountains to the north. Only problem is, according to the world map in the 3rd game, Saranthia is almost directly north of Lantamore. Were Cyrus to follow these instructions and take a ship west until land before climbing the mountains, he'd likely end up between the Pinnacle Monastery and Saranthia. Another example is the Issa state's Lantamore is so big it would take a month on horseback to cross from one end to the other. Sardinia, Italy is not this big. More on this in the next real-world considerations video. Finally, we go back to our old friend and the double betrayal, sacrifice setup, and plains of Koroth. More specifically, the problem of the Redeemer. Unlike other issues where we lack sufficient information or there's a reconcilable contradiction, the problem of the Redeemer is more of a plot hole. In short, unless the worker is an idiot that decided to keep with a millennia-old design, the design of the Redeemer, which allows it to interface with the modern Infinity Blade, is anachronistic. That is, because the worker only had, at the very most, the QIP disruption rings which power the new Infinity Blades at the time of the Redeemer's making. So why was it designed to interface with a blade that hadn't been yet made? Either this anachronism is the answer, or, as stated before, the worker foolishly designed the new Infinity Blade with a port which could accept an old device of his that was both missing and could prove disastrous to his plans. And that wraps it up for another video. Hopefully you liked this one. Subscribe for more Infinity Blade content, and let me know in the comments what you thought, or what you'd like to see me analyze or talk about in the future. With that said, I've been the Archivist. I'll see you mortals in the next one, and hell take us all.